I think it's funny you guys are asking me if Nick Walker can back up the trash talk, because I don't even know if Nick Walker is going to show up at the show, guys. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Strength Addicts on all social media platforms, powered by Iron Mag Labs. Make your mark with IML. Visit ironmaglabs.com today. I wrote an article about this, available at Iron Magazine. It's up. I will post a link to it in the description. But honestly, I think that Nick Walker realizes that he needs to post a lot on social media. He's doing a lot of cool things on stage with the fans. He is posting a lot of physique updates. He is not being quiet. And so I think that that's important, because he is drumming up so much interest in the Pittsburg show. And as a result of that, I think that the people that run the Olympia are also looking at that, because even though he has missed 2 consecutive Olympias, he has undeniably helped them sell a lot of tickets. So I think that Pittsburgh could very well be his sort of comeback, even though he did the New York Pro last year. But you know, the New York Pro, like, he won that by the skin of his teeth. And a lot of people criticize that win. So I feel like then Martin goes on to taking 4th in the world at the Olympia. I think that, he had egg on his face. And, then, he had that stupid interview backstage with Derek, the year that Derek basically was going to defend his Olympia title, and he lost to Samson. Maybe Nick thought that he could have gotten it, so he's probably, got that going on. And then, Derek just winning the Arnold Classic, further cementing himself as the Mr. Olympia, the de facto Mr. Olympia, although Samson continues to be the de jure Mr. Olympia on paper. I think Nick is probably salty at Derek, salty at Martin, and wants to, really win a show, because he deserved to win it. So it'll be interesting to see what he does in Pittsburgh. But like I said, if anybody will miss a show, it's Nick Walker. So, and one last thing. Yesterday, I believe it was, he went on to Instagram or X or one of these things, and he said that he could beat everybody, or that he will beat everybody. And so you can see that, he's really starting to up the ante, The problem with doing that, in my estimation, is that he's going to start putting so much weight on his shoulders, and he's going to have such a high bar to have to meet in order to hold his head up high, that I just hope that it doesn't, come back to haunt him in the sense of cortisol, or in the sense of spilling over, or in the sense of just having some kind of an issue with the body. Sometimes stomach issues are not related to what you've eaten or not having enough water, but they're related to emotions. The body has a whole host of ways to let you know that it's not happy, and that, you need to do something. And it could be your stomach, it could be your water retention, it could be all sorts of things. So I just hope that, he's not going to create a problem for himself, because this is not a guy that does well, on the fly with bumps in the road. And so if he was more of a low-key guy in that respect, I would say, well, I'm sure that they could probably tweak it and fix it. But this guy, as we saw from last year's Olympia, which we still don't have a definitive explanation why he missed, if he doesn't look good, he's not going to take the stage. So now there's an old school sort of respect for that, and that being the respect for the stage and not wanting to get on unless you look your best. But that's kind of a cop-out, honestly. The real issue is you signed to be there. The fans bought tickets to see you there, and you're not going to get on there. You're not being a professional athlete at this point, because it's preferable to take a bad placing than to, not meet your obligations. That would be, I think, the prevailing thought. But there is that old school thought that says, look, if you don't look good, you're not going to be seen. And this is my favorite. If I had to dig this out of the back of the Ghosts, they had the red berry and they had the Sour Patch, and I just had to open those up, and I went all the way to the back, and I got 3 of the Swedish Fish, because that's their favorite, my favorite flavor of theirs. But I got to be honest with you. I really don't know if he's going to win the Pittsburgh. I don't know if he's going to do it. I don't know. I'm like, at this point, I feel like I'm like shell shocked in a way because I don't know. But he's looking really, really good. But the thing is, he looked really good for last year's Olympia leading up to it. Then he didn't do it. So, it's one of those things. And he teased the hell out of us. He gave out a trophy out at, what was it? At New York. He won the New York, but then he gave out a trophy at the Arnold, I think, and then he gave out he just, and then he didn't do it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think that honestly, it's one of those things where I'm gonna wait and see if he deserves a win. He should get the win. I'm not saying punish him, but he's definitely trying to make waves, and he wants to be talked about, and I get it. For a time he was considered to be a future Mr. Olympia, and as of the last 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, I feel, especially since he didn't do the Olympia, not even 6 months, but at least probably the last 4 or 5 months, I would say that people have really written him off, and I think that he doesn't like that, and he shouldn't like that. He's a North American champion. He's an Arnold Classic champion. He's a guy, I think he plays as high as top 3 at the Olympia, if I'm not mistaken. So there's no reason he should like that. So I think that maybe we do see a really good Nick Walker. I think what would be unacceptable and unforgivable is if we see a piece of crap looking Nick Walker, a diced and sliced and full Derek Lunsford, and a ridiculously conditioned and ready to go Martin Fitzwater, and several other top-tier athletes, and then see Nick Walker looking like a pile of crap and getting the win. I would say that would be unforgivable and unacceptable because it would just be totally wrong. And in bodybuilding, you can cry, you can whine, you can drag all you want. That's what's going to happen. There is no, whatever. The only time that they ever went back on a decision, I think, was the Arnold Classic when Sean tested positive for whatever they said he tested positive for. I don't know. He should have threatened to sue him and kept his title, but whatever. He didn't do that. That was Jay Cutler in 2004 with the Arnold. But the point is that I guess we're just gonna wait and see. I'm slightly optimistic, but again, I'm just, what if this guy doesn't show up again? I don't want to say, look, this guy's going to go in there and dominate, and then he's not there. But dominate, I think, is also a very strong word with Martin and Derek in the mix. So if he wins, if he deserves it, great. I don't think he's going to be dominating anyone, but my concern is that he goes in there looking like shit and walks away with the win.